What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Karen Oliver, and welcome to Inside HQ. We are coming to you straight from World of Dance headquarters. But this podcast isn't about what happens inside of these walls. It's about the incredible people outside who are building the movement, shaping the culture, and continue to keep up with the community. I am so excited to introduce our guest today, Miss Halima Dodo.
Hey.
She is the founder and director of the DAM Project. She is an instructor at Movement, Lifestyle, and Offstage. She is a member of Anomaly Dance Company, and she is also represented by Block Talent. Let's get into it. I'm excited.
I'm ready.
All right. First of all, I want you to tell us a little bit about why you chose dance as a career. Why do you enjoy it? What do you love about dance?
Why did I choose dance as a career? I mean, super corny, but like dance really chose me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I danced from when I was really young, and I loved dancing. I loved performing. I loved the art. I loved the grit and process of like training, especially when I was in a dance studio. I loved all of that. And then I went to university, got a degree in something completely unrelated to dance, still creative, but I didn't know I was gonna choose dance as a career at all. I just was like, okay, even though I'm working at this ad agency, I still want to dance for fun. And so at the time that I moved to California and was working at a company, I used to rehearse with a community team called Pack Modern. And I would rehearse with that team, and then on my vacation days, I would go to LA. This company was in Long Beach. I would go to LA, spend all day dancing, and then at some point, I would spend, sorry to my company, half the day like on Instagram looking at dance videos,
right,
or like thinking about dance and wanting to dance more. And I think at some point I wanted to honor my desire and my passion, that like if I'm here working at this company, 9 to 5 to 6 to 7, and then afterwards trying to dance until like 2 in the morning, why is that? And so I just realized that I really wanted to give myself a chance to see dance all the way through. And so here I am now. Yeah.
That was a great response. You've obviously had many experiences in the industry throughout your career. Some of those are performances with Doechii, Will Smith, and Amber Liu. And then we also got music videos with Justin Bieber, Daddy Yankee, and DJ Khaled, and so many more. What did your introduction to the industry look like?
First of all, I want to say that I'm very grateful to be in a position to have worked as much as I have for as long as I have been, and it's not a place that I got to by myself. I'm really fortunate to have had a village of teachers, mentors, choreographers, peers, friends, colleagues who have continued to speak my name in rooms and to have provided the opportunities that I have. And so I just really want to say like thank you. Like whenever people like start to list off the names and stuff, it's one of those like, ugh, but also I'm just like, wow, I'm really grateful. And I think when I talk about my start in the industry, I've lived a lot of lives. As I spoke earlier in the beginning, I got a degree. I worked at an ad agency, and I didn't know that I wanted to be a dancer. But when I was transitioning from my full-time career, my degree job, into dance, I started as a work study at Movement Lifestyle. And before even being a work study at Movement Lifestyle, I followed what ML was doing, what Sean was doing, what all the choreographers and teachers out of ML were doing for years and years and years. And a huge part of that came from what I watched from afar in Florida, the competition community scene, all the competitions I would watch, whether it was Cookies or The Company, GRV, all those dancers and choreographers I would follow. And I loved their work. I was inspired by their work. And that's what led me to want to dance as much as I did being in LA. Even before that, this is like some really deep lore that I never talk about. The ones who know, and the ones I've mentioned, whether it's Sean or Sora, I actually really became invested in these choreographers and dancers because I was into K-pop. I was a huge K-pop fan in grade school and high school, and I got introduced to Sean's work and also through Sora's work because I lived in Korea when I was in college. So I lived in Korea, and while I was living in Korea, Keone Amari came and did workshops, Pat Cruz did workshops, Sean did workshops, Sora did workshops, and because of that, I was like, oh my gosh, wait, I love dancing. Like, Like, this is really fun. Like, maybe, you know, when I graduate school, I'll keep dancing. But it was just that thought from there. And to lead me all the way to where I am now, it's like this, it's many circles that came back to one. But because of that, I ended up in California. And because of that, I ended up wanting to dance more, joining a community team, which was Pac Modern, as I said. And then I was a work study at ML. Through that process, having the mentors who really helped me, who really grew me as I trained every day, taking class after class after class. I started going to auditions. Some of my early mentors who put me on a really good path were Cameron Lee, Rhapsody. I also really looked up to Michael, Amanda, Andy. So many that I can't even name. So many teachers, like I said, are a product of who I am. Also my friend Sora, who's really been there from the beginning, the deep lore that I mentioned. But yeah, I think that's like the beginnings of my start in the industry. Very long-winded answer, but I offered it because it's like a lot of people aren't aware that I've like lived in all these different areas, had all these different interests, but it's because of that I'm here now. So I'm really, really grateful.
I love that you mentioned Cameron. Did you do his mentorship?
I did. 2017 into 18. So before he brought back Potion, because Potion was one of his early companies that he had in Seattle. But back when it was just Cameron Lee Mentorship, back when it was literally just 30 to 40 of us in a room. At the time, I had also assisted some of his admin work, some of his class work. And yeah, Cameron Lee taught me so much about ethic, about wisdom in a room, how to keep pace, how to take correction, how to adapt. The same with Rhapsody. I did Motivating Excellence in 2018. That also changed my life because it was like boot camp for dance, like fitness, acting, artist development, freestyle, hip hop, street jazz, contemporary, commercial work, how to do commercial casting, like so much. And I'm so grateful for those formative experiences in my career because I started as a dancer late in terms of career dance, industry dance. I danced for a long time, but when I compare myself to like, you know, people who did convention or that era of dance, they had a different start from what I did. And then I also had stepped away from technical dance for a very long time. So I've always felt like I'm playing catch up and I've made peace with that journey and that pace, but it was because of those really, really intense experiences, whether it was Cameron or Rhapsody. I also did the Fly Girls process around that time. So thank you to Rob, who really also helped me be introduced to feminology and being able to perform in a heel, being able to utilize that in my commercial assets. Yeah, those processes were very formative for me. So I'm very grateful.
No, totally. I had the privilege of taking Cam's mentorship over this past summer before.
Oh my goodness, that's
Seattle.
so great! I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah,
I was so grateful for every single piece of information that I learned. So every time someone's like, "I've learned from Cameron," I'm like, "Yeah,
it makes sense."
Yeah,
it makes sense.
I can see it for sure. Can you give the dancers watching some advice on how to dive into the community? I'm sorry, not the community, the industry. Yeah, and what awaits in this world?
Whoa, there is a lot that I can say, and the advice that I'm going to offer is not an end-all be-all. Take the meat and throw away the bones, even though I'm vegan, so I don't eat meat anymore. But what works for you works for you. First of all, that is an advice. What works for you works for you, and I think this industry will try to mold you into something that you're not. And I think if you can understand who you are, what you want to do in this industry, how you want to go about doing it, knowing, okay, this is me as the brand, this is me as the person, this is me as the product. Do you want those things to be the same? Do you want those things to be different? To really understand your identity and your why, and to move forward with that at all costs. Yeah, I think that's the best I could offer without being super long-winded. And I say that because I think cross-referencing with my journey, I'm someone who enjoys encountering new things. I enjoy learning new things. And so when I started in this industry, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to be skilled at everything. I'm the last person who's like, yeah, master one thing. I'm like, I want to master it all. I want to be the best at everything. Like, you know, and that's just the journey that I chose. But then at some point I was like, okay, I've tried everything, but I actually really enjoy street styles. I really enjoy quality of artistry. I really enjoy industry spaces where the leadership, whether it's the choreographer or the production or the director, respects the dancers, and the artist respects the dancers at all levels. So there's no toxic leadership, there's no power play, there's no weird stuff. Weird stuff is all I'm gonna say. And I realized those are the environments that I wanted to be a part of. That also came with me not being in every room, not being at every audition, not being with every camp, not working with every viral choreographer, and I'm okay with that. Right. Yeah, I'm way more at peace and way more edified and excited about the work that I do when it's with good people who know my worth, celebrate my worth, and allow me to be myself in the space.
Totally. The industry is super glamorized. It's obviously the dream for many of us, myself included. Yeah. And I think it's really important to be mindful of the spaces that you're entering and really keeping your peace as a number one priority. So, and I can totally wholeheartedly agree with your response and the advice that you're giving out. Yeah. Completely unrelated, but you recently performed at the Grammys. I did. With Dochi. And you performed Robbie Blue choreography. Oh my gosh. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Robbie, I'm your number one fan. Literally.
Me too.
And Robbie is someone that I remember seeing when he moved out here and was also in Cameron's mentorship around the time that I was like phasing out, also like pandemic era, Robbie, and also Ashley. Just the quality of artistry, but also the quality of knowing thyself that they carry. And I've said it to them multiple times, but I just have the utmost respect for how they honor their identity, how they carry themselves, how they led the room in that process. That is the dream process of people who are basically, they know how to care for people in the space, know how to lead the space, know how to articulate their needs, what they're asking and expecting of you. Was it incredibly difficult? Yes, but it was so much fun. I think off camera we talked about how like technique is still so important, like ballet, jazz, tap, all of that. And it might not be a style that I consistently train anymore, but the fact that I got to tap into that bag in that process was both terrifying and exciting and exhilarating for me. I had so much fun. And Dochi, she's the truth. She's the truth. She's really, really, really the truth. Your quality of art and message is something that like really, really resonated with me, especially being someone who came into, you know, music and hip hop and the industry being seen as like an underdog, having to go indie, then having to go mainstream, trying to find your balance between like pop and your authenticity. Also being a Black woman in this industry is incredibly hard, incredibly challenging. People don't always want to give you a voice or a platform. And to be in that room, which was a room of predominantly Black dance artists, also powerful female Black dance artists, was really, really special to me, because I've had a lot of experiences where I didn't fit a type, I didn't fit a look, I didn't fit a style, and that was really hard. But to have my own individuality and identity celebrated in that space was really, really special. So I'm really grateful. Yeah, and that inspired me a lot because I've worked so much, there gets to be that point where I'm like, okay, do I still want to continue doing this? Do I still want to continue doing this at this capacity? And I love dancing and I love performing and I want to dance and perform forever. And that process really, really lit a fire under me to really continue doing that. So thank you. Thank you.
I watched that performance, I think, and I am not exaggerating whatsoever, but at least 20 times. Nonstop, over and over again. That was
same. Me too.
That was just very much the culmination of just like all moving parts fitting perfectly together. Yes. Choreographers, directors, like Dochi herself, the dancers, and you could feel it through.
Even the conveyor operator. Sorry, ASMR snaps, but you did your thing in rehearsals. I know that was not easy. All the cues. All the technicalities, like it's as you're saying, everything moving in perfect like synchronization was done like second by second. Every rehearsal we got in and like remanufactured every frame, like, and that was also from a choreography and creative direction perspective really a learning for me to just see how you can map out each frame to achieve it perfectly and the impact that you want for that. You guys in the audience all felt that because we manufactured that like second by second,
totally,
moment by moment, breath by breath. Like, yeah, it was really, really an incredible process to be a part of. So much respect for the entire team, the PAs, everybody. Like, they took such good care of us, handled every part of the process so well, made sure we were safe, made sure we were prepared. It's the most prepared I've ever been for a job.
Wow.
Ever.
I
Ever.
mean,
and it never happens like
stakes.
that.
Totally.
So thank you.
Yeah. How did it feel to be performing? I mean, obviously you performed on very big stages before, but that specific stage where, you know, the audience is mainly all of these incredible artists that you looked up to so much. Like, was that like an additional pressure to you, or did you just try not to think about it at all?
I think in other experiences where the turnaround of the process is really quick, like few days of rehearsal, then you're on stage, or then you're in front of the camera, I would have felt that pressure. But like I said, we were so prepared. We had weeks of rehearsal. We rehearsed every cue, every moment, every in and out.
Right.
And I would also even say to like the Grammys team, they were really invested in the process of trying to get all the camera angles that we needed, which was refreshing to me. I mean, it was my first Grammys, but from other broadcasted programs, I've never really seen that level of effort, for lack of better words. And they were in our rehearsals. We also had very extensive tech rehearsals before the live show. So I felt really, really ready. I was like, yeah, nothing, like I'm so prepared. Like I'm so prepared to do this, for real.
Wow, that's incredible. I personally would have probably been dying, but you know, I guess that also comes with, you know, your experience and as you learn and grow and just really being that professional that you are and stepping into like who you are. We just talked about a huge high in your career. I kind of want to shift a little bit more into what are like some lows you've had in the industry in terms of not like specifically personal, but maybe like an experience that you had that just maybe didn't sit well with you, or maybe you got some advice that was probably something that you were like, I'm not going to take that advice. It works maybe for other people, but not for myself.
Yeah. Yes to all of the above. This journey is a challenge. It can be really, really tough. Like the highs are high, and then the lows are like, ooh, is this the Earth's core? Like, whoa, how low can we go? Yeah, I think, I mean, something that I'm also reconciling, and I used to think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get to a certain point and it gets easier. And it does get easier, but it also gets harder. The higher you go, the more experienced you are, the more you mature, it gets easier and it gets harder. And I think the one thing that I'm still coming to terms with is like rejection, whether it's casting or whether it's opportunities or whatever it is, like the no's still hit really, really hard. And I'm aware that the yes that's for you is for you. Like that's always going to be true. But I think it's the no's for the things that like I really, really wanted, like I really, really wanted to do. I've really had to come to terms with. And it's like, okay, I let it go, but like, I let it go. Yeah, I let it go, you know? And I've got like this little tiny fist hidden and I'm like still holding on to it. So really processing things that are not for me and making space for the doors that are going to open for me, like that is something I'm really still learning and working through. And then on top of that, as you mentioned, like advice that you get that's not for you, I think this kind of goes relating back to like being a certain type, having a certain look, having a certain style. Early on, I was told that like I needed to tone down my energy. I needed to be less. I needed to fix this, fix that. And then I was told, like, I need to dance more like the type that's expected of me. You know, like, for lack of better words, I was told to, like, dance more black or to be this kind of dancer or to match this kind of dancer. And I tried that for a while because I wanted to work so badly. And then it got to a point where, like, the lack of sincerity started to affect me. It got to the point where I would be in rooms and spaces and not know how to be myself because I was trying to be what I thought I should be. And it's taken years even to get back to, like, honoring my true self, my true energy. And like I said earlier in our conversation, that means that I'm not in every room, and I've had to make peace with that, because if I can be myself, be the energy that is authentic to me, that's what matters most, as opposed to dialing down, toning down and dialing back. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, that's a disservice to myself and also a disservice to the people who resonate with the real me. So yeah, I'm on this path now of, like, I'm gonna be loud, I'm gonna show up, you're gonna see me, and I'm gonna take up space, and I'm gonna do all of that because that's me. And if you like
deal with it.
Yeah, if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, I don't know, eat some chocolates or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Right. I think it's super interesting. Most of the advice we get in, like, the beginning stages of the dance career are super related to, like, fit the mold, be this specific person. You fit into this category and you work best in this way. However, it's so surprising to me because evidence shows otherwise. Like,
yes.
Every incredible artist that is at the peak of their career is individualistic to the max.
Absolutely.
Like, they are honoring exactly who they are. Like Robbie, you mentioned, you know, he is someone who, like, truly has honored the artist and stuck by that.
Yeah.
And that's gotten so many opportunities.
Yeah.
And so many other people that I could name, like thousands and thousands. And it's really just sticking to who you are and honoring that, being true to yourself, that's actually going to get you in the room that you need to be in.
This is true.
So it is such, like, a weird thing that happens in the industry where it's like you're kind of getting the, like, opposing advice that you should be getting. And it is just so important to honor
it serves a purpose. I think it serves a purpose to an extent, because, as I said earlier, like, the number one advice is to know who you are and what you want to do in this industry. And if you want to work in a broader range of spaces, you have to broaden how you're perceived so that you fit in those spaces.
Right.
And that's like the nature of it. But if you are someone that's like, okay, well, I don't really like to dance, like, you know, I don't really like to change my energy, or I don't really have that kind of tone, that means I can't really do that kind of work, then that's you know, the fact. But the space that's going to honor your spark will receive you and will open their doors and arms to you. That's for sure.
Right. And you can still really stick true to who you are while maintaining versatility in who you are. You know, we're not just confined to being this one thing. We are so many things and we fit in so many spaces. But really, I think the artists that I admire the most are really those that
fully
honor
agree.
who they are.
Fully agree.
So I loved that moment. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on a little bit into your community work.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Dan Project. I mean, you guys performed at WAD LA recently.
We sure did.
It was amazing. It was incredible to watch. And you are obviously a current member on Anomaly Dance Company.
This is true.
Now let's go into your introduction to the community.
Okay. So I prefaced a little bit of it before with, like, my roundabout, like, K-pop into dance journey. But when I was in college, I went to University of Miami, and while I was there, I was on a non-competitive dance team at my school called Chaos. And then around my sophomore year, I got introduced to a competitive team that was based at a neighboring school called FIU. And that team was named Tokyo Love Bots. And they used to do Prelude and also World of Dance. This is circa 2012. Very long time ago. Anyways, I'm not old. I'm mature. Anyways, so yeah, I joined that team. And the directors of that team were the ones who introduced me to, like, content creators and teachers and choreographers on YouTube and going to workshops. And so I didn't have a car or that much access at the time, but those directors, who are my dear friends now, would drive me to workshops. We would drive to Orlando for events. We competed in events, and that was my early introduction to the community. And that was like, I would say from that time up until I moved to California, I would like sit on YouTube and watch every competition footage, like like waiting for the release, watch every competition footage. And that was my early introduction. And and then by the time I moved to California, I was living in Long Beach. I would take class at like Snow Globe. I would go to workshops like TRV workshops, cookies workshops. I was, rehearsing with Pac Modern, as I said. I only did 1 year with them. To be fair, I wasn't in college anymore. And at the time that I joined, it was a very young team. Right. So everyone was like 18 and I was like 22, 23 dancing on concrete. And I was like, that's got to stop. But love Pac Modern, love my fam. A bunch of them are doing incredible things in the community still to this day. So love and appreciate you guys.
It's always that. It's always the dancing on concrete and the community are one. I don't know why. I don't know who said that was healthy for our knees.
Dancing until sunrise. Whoa.
Yes. Like the late nights. I don't know who said that was healthy.
We didn't know any better. We know now.
We just did it. But back to what you were talking about with the sitting and watching YouTube videos, I feel like I really shared that experience specifically with the GRVs, the cookies and companies of the world. I mean, they have legendary performances that you just gotta watch over and over again. And we all have our little favorites, you know, and you can really tell who is extremely passionate about dance as a career when we get into this conversation and when we get into talking about the videos that we've seen and how we got into knowing what we know about the industry or about the community specifically. So I really loved that response. Can we also talk a little bit about maybe advice that you have? Like for anyone trying to get started. Yeah. Someone's interested in going into a team or, starting to take workshops.
Yeah. Honestly, just show up. Literally show up. And I think it's interesting because showing up for the community post-pandemic and pre-pandemic looks a little bit different. I think as a society and economy, we're dealing with so many other factors. And I think it's really, really, really important to show up, to not be afraid to be in the space, no matter what level you are. I'm going to keep it 100. I was not a good dancer. You look back at those videos and you thought you was killing it and doing something. I was not great. The me 10 years ago that was at a class in Snow Globe in the back of the room, SI intensive. TMSI intensive, like no select groups, like you know what I mean? Even in Florida, like I was not a good dancer. And even the workshops that I used to go to when I was in Korea, like back when, Sora came and all those things, I was like, she's my good friend now, but back then I could not hit a beat kill. So thank you, Sora, for helping me pull up. It's okay to not be great and to not look cool. I think show up for the spaces that are going to push you and challenge you. Show up for your friends. When I moved to Long Beach, I used to just like go to like the Pac Modern workshops. Like I just went to the workshops and that's how I learned and got introduced to the team. So show up. Show up, do the work, have fun.
That's really something that I love about the community is how different it is when sometimes for industry, you're going to a class because you're trying to network, you're trying to get in a space, you're trying to learn
they see me.
Exactly.
I hope they know I can do.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're trying to really get eyes on you, but when you're showing up to community stuff or events, workshops, you're really there to learn and to be surrounded by people that make you feel better and inspire you.
Absolutely.
And I think that's just such a beautiful thing that the community provides. Yeah. And again, like just sending it and doing the thing and going is the best way to get started.
This is true.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I also do think we all feel like we were horrible dancers once upon a time. I don't know how true that is.
It's very true.
what you're saying here, because I've seen you dance, and
it's very true. We've come a long way.
I don't know about all that, but
yeah.
But I mean, I think just really entering the community is such a beautiful experience, and it really gives you such like a family feeling that balances out that like industry intense energy and this is my work.
Yeah, I mean, even with what you're saying about the family feeling, I think that's a big part of why I decided to start my own project initiative. Looking at the community, being a part of so many different community spaces, being a part of other people's teams and companies and programs, I just started to feel like there was a need for a space that felt safe, but also encouraging, and also a space for me to exercise artistry that, I don't know, artistry that I resonated with, artistry that I was excited about, excited by. And yeah, just for me to put stories out there that interested me, and to be able to bring people in to be a part of that, for them to also shine in that process. That's how I ended up doing that. It's kind of like to build my own family from the ground up. And it's not like they're people I didn't know. They're literally people that I've known for years and years and years, whether it was classes or auditions or other teams. And as I mentioned, I've lived a lot of lives, and it's literally people from like any facet and sphere of like my life experience. Even one of my earlier projects this year that I had prepared for Resurgence, but we didn't get to perform Resurgence because of the incidents in LA. But one of them who was a part of that is literally a friend of mine that I met studying abroad in Korea like 10 years ago.
Right.
And so it's just like stuff like that all coming back full circle. Or a lot of the current DAM project members were people that I did Hip Hop Nutcracker with, and then even people that I worked at ML with from work study days to even now that I'm a faculty, So yeah, it's just a lot of full circle coming together, and me being able to showcase people who don't get to showcase all of their assets for fun. It's always like, okay, the grind, the industry, the hustle, my jobs, my gigs. And like, this was a space where we could just come and be and pursue excellence without someone saying, well, why aren't you like this? Why aren't you like that? Like, it was all love, all fun, all family, and I really miss it. Like we have a little chat, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, see you guys at rehearsal. Wait, we don't have rehearsal.
No, I get it. I feel like, I mean, going to like specifically for WAD events, I think especially for WAD LA, you walk in and everyone that is there, and it is such an amazing feeling getting to see these faces that sometimes you don't see them that often. We all have very, very busy schedules and lives, so getting to see all of these people together in one space and they're all here for the same purpose is a beautiful feeling. I want to get into a little bit about how you're like mixing the two. What are ways that you're able to mix your knowledge that you've acquired from like the industry to community and vice versa?
I feel like that question is interesting because I don't necessarily think about how I can fuse my knowledge. I think the ideas and the insights exist through trial and error, through a lot of practice, through a lot of just throwing the spaghetti on the wall and seeing what sticks. And also the experience of like the rooms that I've been in, the environments, the processes that I've been in, and seeing, okay, I liked that. I didn't really resonate with that. That's not really for me. Okay, I want people to feel like this in the space, so I lead a certain way. It's more so been that, whether it's scheduling, logistics, trying to adapt to everyone's needs with the time, preparing content and choreography beforehand, really trying to be as organized as I can, knowing that I'm gonna be using so much of people's time, energy, and effort is something that I really prioritize. And then also brainstorming the idea, like having a plan, but also being okay with like letting it go with wherever it goes.
Right.
And I think something that I'm thankful for in my creative process is that in the beginning, I was someone who used to try to put a piece together in one night because I was like, oh, we don't have time, we don't have energy, like we don't have budget, like let's just get it done. And then I was like, okay, what would it be like to take the idea, spend days, if not weeks, working through it to see what sticks so that I can have the best outcome? And that's what the DAM project has allowed me to be. So with the WAD LA set, and then also the Tomodachi project that I did earlier in the year, I literally spent like several weeks on it. Like I gave myself a skeleton crew, skeleton crew project outline timeline. I gave myself a skeleton crew timeline so I could see different versions of the choreography and the content, different formations, different variations, and then I like set it on the actual cast. So when I was coming into the space, I knew exactly what I wanted to give to them so that we could get that done in a few hours each night.
Right.
And I think that is something that has really that I've seen in professional spaces that I wanted to bring into my community work as well.
Yes, I completely agree with just the idea of coming in prepared and really making sure that you're not wasting anyone's time, and not that you would, but making sure that you're giving them something when they're here and they're giving you their time. I think is such an important thing, especially in the community. We all have there's thousands and thousands of passion projects.
Yeah.
And it is incredible, but it does get hard sometimes when you're a part of multiple at the same time. It's really, really difficult. So sometimes coming into a space where we're not really prepared, or we might just be playing with material, can get really difficult for someone that's involved in not only the community but also the industry, where like the industry is such a, you know, specific space, and there are not rules, but there's guidelines in place on like how one should behave professionally and whatnot. So I can totally see why that would be such an important thing for you in community experiences. Is there a specific project that you worked on where you felt like your two worlds mixed perfectly together?
Ooh, there's a couple. Let me see. I think there's a few that come to mind, and I'm just gonna go in like, is this reverse order? I don't know. So last year I got to tour with a Chinese American artist named Amber Liu, and the choreography was done by Sora Yang, who I mentioned up and down because she's my girl. Also just delivered a baby. Congratulations, Sora. I'm really happy to be an auntie now. I'm already an auntie from my own sister, but like an auntie again. Anyway, sorry, side tangent. Sora choreographed that, and as I said, like she's someone who I watched and learned from a lot, like coming into the community, and then she's someone who became like a really dear friend to me. So to be able to be a part of that process with her leadership, also dancing with my friend Leo, who's a huge asset and leader and educator in this community, from culture shock, from a lot of different spaces. He's so well versed, so well knowledgeable, and to be on that tour with Amber, who previously was in an idol group that I grew up watching and listening to, and so that was like a huge full circle experience for me, combining like industry and community. And that was also a team that took really good care of us. We had so much fun on the road performing Sora's choreography, which also is difficult, but so much fun. On top of that, I would say even my work with Hip Hop Nutcracker was a really big fusion of that, because there's a lot of dancers in that space that come from the street styles community, that are in the battle scene, that are in freestyle, but then are also in this show performing choreography and theater dynamics. And to be able to be in that room with so many great artists that I look up to and learn so much from, really inspired me. And I was really grateful to have toured with Hip Hop Nutcracker for a few years. So that, there's a third thing I want to mention also related to Sora. When we did Good Times after the pandemic, she put together like this all-female project. Being a part of that process with so many powerful female dance friends who I've known for several years, and even dancers that I didn't know before that process, was really special, really powerful. And also for the company to put that show on as a comeback post-pandemic before it was Urban Paradise, that is a huge combination of worlds, specifically because the event, which takes place in the Bay, at the time that I did that event, a good amount of my friends, like close friends from Miami, were living in the Bay. Close friends from my study abroad years were living in the Bay, and I got to reunite with them in that weekend. So that stuff like that is always gonna like hold a dear place in my heart. Like the work that the company is doing in the Bay, y'all know I love you like up and down. Like so much love for the company, for their heart, for the way that they build community, for the way that they treat dancers and teachers and choreographers and give space for them to create. I really, really appreciate. I don't think I'll be able to be at Good Times this year, which is a little bit sad. There's a lot happening in that weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're amazing.
No, these are all really experiences that are even inspiring myself. I'm just like eager to dance and see all my people again just from like hearing you talk about them. But let's like manifest some things for you right now.
Oh my goodness.
So
I saw this question on the sheet and it gave me anxiety.
What questions? What sheet? What are you talking about? Okay, so I want to know, whether it be industry or community or the perfect blend in between, what is your dream project and why? Chun, chun, chun.
Chun, chun, chun.
Can we add those sound effects in there? Bow, bow, bow.
I have so many. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a very, very like ambitious person. I'm not very easily like satiated. As soon as I like achieve one thing, I'm like, let's do the next thing. Like, ooh, that was a lot of spit. Anyways, let's do the next thing. Yeah, I definitely want to do another world tour. I definitely want to do more festivals, and I really want to do the VMAs. Yeah, it's like I try not to get married to like the dream artists. They exist, they're there. But you know, as I mentioned, like what's for you is for you. And I think at the end of the day, I want to be in a part of those like big opportunities, big stages, but I also want to be a part of an experience that's going to be edifying. Right. That's going to have value in terms of the team respecting each other and also putting forth the best energy for really good art. And that is more so what I want to manifest like in the future.
That was an incredible answer. Is there a specific, like maybe when you were a little girl, a specific artist that you would just dance your heart out to and that it would just really be full circle for you if you got to work with them?
Like I said, it's so interesting because I grew up with my parents listening to a lot of like soul oldies. So like obviously we love the Jacksons, like Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson. I grew up loving pop, like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, all those. But now I think because I found a lot of inspiration in hip hop, and I still really, really love pop music, but I really love hip hop, the movement, the culture. I would love to perform with more hip hop artists, rap artists, and I'm trying to think. Also, coming from a background, like my parents aren't from the U.S., my mom's from Jamaica, my dad's from Nigeria. So to see Afrobeats be put on like the world stages that it has been now, like whether it's Burna Boy or I'm a Piano with like Tyla, so many amazing artists. Like if I could be incorporated into those spaces to continue to see my culture elevated, like that's also a dream for me. Yeah.
That was beautiful. So we were talking earlier about you competing at World of Dance in 2012.
Oh gosh.
Recently, the Dance Project performed at WADA LA in 2025.
Yeah.
And I want to know what that experience meant to you, and with your journey that you've had with World of Dance, like how impactful is being able to headline a performance or headline WADA LA?
I think it's impactful because it was as if the community wanted to say that like we see you and we recognize you, and we know that what you're doing matters. And I think as dancers and artists, there aren't enough spaces that can offer that. And I was really, really grateful, as I said, to be able to have a space where my voice and artistry could be seen, could be received, could be celebrated. And then on top of that, to do that with a group of people that I love, that I am really, I'm going to keep saying it, am inspired by, like some of the best, like the best dancers in that room. And the fact that they said yes to being a part of my art and my work, like I don't take lightly. Right. And the fact that the audience and people could witness that, I'm really, really grateful. And I think the moment that it really hit me, this is very, very specific moment, and I mentioned it to him when I saw him the other day, but we were on stage getting ready to start. And we were opening the headlining portion, but then the battle was happening.
Right.
And then you have like Rob, who's in the battle, but also in my piece, who's battling one first, by the way, and then immediately was in the wings, quick change, and then got on stage performing my choreography, which is not easy. But he did it. Like, his versatility, crazy. Like, I was just like, wow. Wow, Rob. Anyway, side tangent. But when that was happening, we were on stage. Like, we were all on stage and low-key testing the floor while the battle was happening. I'm looking out in the audience, and I see, like, ML staff in the audience. I see ML staff, and I see and I see Sean. And I was literally, like, even thinking about it starts to make me emotional because I was like, I literally wouldn't. Ooh, whoa. Where are our feelings all of a sudden? Whoa. Didn't expect to go there. I'm just going to take a moment.
It's okay.
I wouldn't
as long
be
as you
here without him. And, didn't know we were going to go there without his contributions and without his support and encouragement for me. And to know that he was in the audience and he's also a key person to pushing me to where I am now. And he knows this, really, really meant a lot. So, yeah. Sometimes more than even dancing for like the highest celebrity or artist, like really getting to dance for your people because of your people really means so much to me. Suck those thug tears back in. We're sucking them back in. Get back in there. But yeah, I was just really, really so grateful for that. Also grateful to the World of Dance team for the opportunity to share and to showcase beyond just being a dancer behind an artist, but to have my own work through the DAM project recognized, the stories that I want to tell through the DAM project, diverse artists in motion recognized really means a lot. So thank you.
That was a beautiful, beautiful response. I was also starting to get emotional. I'm like, I got to lead this. Come on.
Yeah, thank you.
But I totally understand. It is just such an emotional feeling being able to perform in front of people you care about, you know, regardless of whatever your process has been. If someone really cares about you and has seen you grow from day one, that just really hits different. Them getting to watch you in a completely different light is just insane. Continuing to talk a little bit about the DAM project, what are some hopes you have for the future of the DAM project?
I have so many ideas. So many things I want to do. I don't necessarily want to treat the DAM project as like I don't know, it's like, for lack of better words, like some sort of like financial initiative. It's really just like, what kind of art can I make without holding back, and how can I do that? So whether it's stage performance opportunities, film opportunities, traveling opportunities, like I want to be able to use the DAM project to exercise that. And something that I've even looked into is seeing how I can get, you know, whether it's like nonprofit funding or grant funding so that we can execute our ideas, collaborating with other filmmakers, musicians, artists. Like, that is really something that I want to be able to do more of in the future.
I actually find it super interesting talking just about like nonprofit grant world, how a lot of artists in LA aren't aware of that being an option.
There's so much out there.
There's a lot out there that can help you financially, and it can help you create an incredible vision. And I think it's important to, you know, mention that if you are someone who is interested in creating art, there are many options for you, and there are grants, there are places to go,
festivals, residencies, so many things,
thousands of things, and it's just about looking in the right places.
Absolutely.
But I personally am super excited to see what's next for the DAM project.
Thanks, me too.
Let's find out. Huge fan.
Thank you.
Excited to watch whichever performance comes next. I want to talk about a little bit about what you witnessed specifically at WAD LA. Based on what you witnessed in the competition scene, and in your opinion, what factors should be considered to create an eye-catching performance?
I mean, this is completely subjective, by the way. But what I've witnessed this past WAD, and also just all the years of World of Dance, I think what stands out to me specifically is going to be story. And the reason why I use that word, which it can feel like a buzzword, but like when you see a story that feels like your own, whether it's personal, whether it's like a love story or a humanity story or a society story, even if it's just the energy of the piece, like even if it's someone's set is just like full out energy, there's a story there. You know, and I feel like when you see a story, there are moments, there are beats that feel like they connect directly to you. That to me is like the most eye-catching, the most like soul-gripping. Whether it's Missy Elliott or like Labyrinth, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter the genre of music. Like if there's a story involved, if there's a very specific theme and concept involved that can hit you and reach you, that's what matters.
I totally agree. It's like we've been on the same page this entire time, but I've had opportunities here where I'm able to talk about dance a lot.
Yeah.
And one thing that I feel like I consistently find myself repeating, and sometimes I even feel like I gotta stop talking about this, but story is so important in a performance. When you're watching something, if there's a storyline and there's a clear choreographic intention that's surrounding that and that's showing you exactly where to look, when, where, you know, and it really shows you what's happening and it keeps you engaged throughout the whole thing. It just creates a different experience for the audience and the viewer. And I feel like the most memorable performances that I've ever seen have really they've hit all of those marks, you know, had all of those qualities. So I just completely agree.
Yeah.
I want to know, how do you find that creative sweet spot that allows you to pursue both industry and community and the DAM project and Anomaly and everything that you do? What is that like creative sweet spot again?
This is super annoying to say. I feel like the sweet spot is actually a little bitter. There is no sweet spot.
Right.
It's hard. It's a lot of sacrifice. I can't even call it a balancing act. It's like a teeter-totter seesaw of like, sometimes it'll feel like this, sometimes it'll feel like this, sometimes it'll feel like this, and then it goes like this. And I'm someone that whenever I've been asked like a similar question, I say that I work in like seasons and I compartmentalize a lot. So there might be a season where I'm running around with, you know, like a chicken with my head cut off, and that was this past season for me because I wanted to do so many things and I wanted to make it all work. I wanted to teach, I wanted to choreograph, I wanted to dance, and I was doing all of that and I was very strung out, I'm not gonna lie. But I did the work and I was excited by it, and that's what matters. So then there are seasons where it's like, okay, well, maybe I'm not doing all of everything, and maybe I'm not putting things out on a stage or on video, but I'm just in the studio labbing for myself, or I'm just, you know, going to community events, or I'm not in other people's rehearsals for a time, or it's like I go back and forth and give myself different seasons to explore things in different capacities. That's what I would say has helped me find that like bittersweet spot of like, okay, am I doing everything I want to be doing? Am I doing what matters to me? I really try to give myself a season to like incubate, a season to grow, a season to express and output, and then a season to input. And I think something I'm actually really looking forward to, I don't know if this is tied exactly to my creative sweet spot, but I think something that helps me is finding things to work towards, things to look forward to. So whether that's, okay, I'm looking forward to a season of, okay, I'm just going to grow, or I'm looking forward to a project that has a deadline, like that really helps me balance, like having an end goal, even if it fluctuates to some degree. And I mentioned that because something that has motivated me to like put my head down and work as hard as I have at the beginning of the year is that in the summer, I always go to this camp in New York, and it's an experience that has really, really grown my voice and movement in street styles and hip hop, in house, in pursuing my own identity as an artist, being able to enter battles, having that inspiration from Mop Top. It's their camp called 36 Chambers, and it's led by Mop Top, hosted in collaboration with Perry Dance. And because of those seasons and summers, I've been the most inspired that I am to continue creating, to continue elevating my work and my craft. So I'm really, really thankful for that season. I think it's just knowing where you want to like dip at any given point in time, whether it's going to be like both feet or 1 foot and here and there, like that, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Dance is such a roller coaster, and just figuring it out as you go and trusting that whatever you're passionate about in the moment is what's right for you is so important. And I can see that that's how you operate with your life and what you're looking to do. And if you're passionate about, putting stuff into yourself and letting yourself grow in that moment, then that's what you need to be doing. And if you're passionate about doing a certain project, then that's what you need to be doing. You just grow as you go.
Yeah.
And dance is crazy. You just got to figure
It's
it out
crazy.
as you go. But
what we do is so crazy. The multitasking, insane.
yes.
Insane.
Do you have any final advice or thoughts to give to our viewers today regarding, diving into whether it be industry, community, whatever?
Let's think about this. The first thing that comes to mind, and it's something that I'm telling myself recently, is to really bet on yourself, show up for yourself, make your own chances. Like, really, really, really do that for yourself. And I say this because I'm someone that really, really loves to serve. Like, I have a heart of service for a lot of people. And I think that's always going to be a part of me. But it really wasn't until recently that I started to, like, give the same energy that I give to others to myself. And so really showing up for myself as an individual is something that I'm prioritizing. So, like, when I'm in spaces, I'm there because I want to be, and I'm there operating how I want to operate because I want to be there. And if I got to, like, make my own chair, make my own table, open my own doors, like, I'm going to do that. Because I'm aware that, like, the work that I want to see, the work that I want to do, the art that I want to see, that I want to be a part of, like, I should take the initiative to do that and make that happen. So, yeah, really show up for yourself. Bet on yourself. Don't wait for people to be your yes. Be your own yes, for sure. Be your own yes. Your yes matters the most.
Be your own yes. That I have no words. Like, 100% agree with that. But unfortunately, that's all we have for you guys today.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Halima, for coming on the podcast, coming on Inside HQ and giving us just a behind the scenes look into your world, your experience, your life.
I've shared a lot of things that like no one has ever asked me about before. So
and that's the whole point. So please go ahead and look into the camera. Let the people know any fun upcoming projects, any events, teaching, whatever you'd like.
Yeah. As of right now, I think I mentioned it earlier. I'm getting ready to go to New York in the summer. Really excited for Mop Top's events, 36 Chambers, also the Ladies of Hip Hop Festival in July. And then, as mentioned, I'm also hoping to pursue more grants and opportunities for my work to be in dance festivals, to be a part of some dance or choreography residencies. Teaching-wise, I'm really, really thankful that I've been able to be a faculty at AMDA, and I hope to continue sharing what I've learned and received and experienced in the culture for hip-hop to dancers that are usually in very technical studio spaces that don't get that knowledge and input. Performance-wise, ML has some showcases coming up, and then there are also some huge events with Flip the Switch coming up. Anomaly is preparing to do a lot. Tobias has always got us doing a lot. And I didn't mention this earlier, like, huge tangent, but I also really want to say thank you to Tobias, because he continues to push me and encourage me and show me that I can do things I literally never thought I could do. The Anomaly Dance Company choreography that we did the other day, insane. Hardest thing I've ever done. But yeah, we have some stuff that'll come out soon. So yeah, stay tuned.
That's so exciting. You guys should definitely keep an eye out for that. And keep an eye out for the big things that Halima Dodo will do.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to see myself. But thank you guys. I will see you all on the next episode of Inside HQ. Bye.
Bye.